Hello and welcome back to another episode of Avoid These When Playing as a Killer. And for today's video, we're gonna talk about Hillbilly. But of course, I'm not gonna include the add-ons in this video since there are different add-ons that can majorly change the way you play as a killer. So yeah, we're gonna consider the standard play style of the killer. Alright then, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the video. Number 1. Don't start sprinting from far away. You know, many new players have this bad habit of using a chainsaw when the survivor is miles away. Even if the survivor is feet away, it is better to just hold on to the chainsaw until you get extremely close to them. Because the probability of missing the chainsaw sprint relatively depends on the distance between the killer and the survivor. I know it sounds complex, but allow me to explain. If the distance between you and the survivor is very short, then the chances for connecting the head are extremely high. And if there is a huge distance between the two of you, then they have a larger window to dodge your chainsaw. So basically, your chances of connecting the chainsaw depends on the distance between you and the survivor. So it is best to always wait until you get close enough before charging up the chainsaw. Number 2. Don't break pallets with chainsaw. If you are chasing a survivor through a loop and let's say you get decently close to them and then you start loading your chainsaw, but unfortunately the survivor makes it to the pallet in time and drops it, and then you just use your chainsaw, which is nearly 80% already charged up, to break the pallet. This scenario is actually okay. There is nothing wrong with this one. But let's say you're chasing the same survivor and you did not yet load your chainsaw. He makes it to the pallet and drops it in time, and that's when you start loading the chainsaw only to break the pallet. This is a bad play here, because loading the chainsaw only to use it to break the pallet actually takes more time than just breaking it normally by kicking it. Number 3. Avoid chasing while charging up your chainsaw. As you already know that when charging up the chainsaw, Hillbilly's movement speed decreases, and it stays decreased until he either cancels the charging action or bursts into a sprint. So when you charge your chainsaw up to the end of the bar and without triggering into sprint, you decide to hold it there, you will move at a decreased speed, and the longer you hold it in that position, the more distance survivors can gain. That is of course due to the speed difference between the two of you. I know it's a minor point, but many people sometimes become stubborn and mess up by putting the chainsaw on hold. Also, if you hold the chainsaw for a really long time, then it will get overheated and you can't use it for a few more seconds. So you gotta make sure you don't load your chainsaw unnecessarily, you know. Number 4. Don't go for turns early. Not many people know about this, and if you're one of them, then you better listen closely. We know that when the chainsaw bar fills up, Hillbilly breaks into a sprint in a straight line. But there is one more important thing that you need to know. As soon as he starts sprinting, his turn sensitivity will be at maximum, meaning that if you even turn slightly when he starts sprinting, he would make a bigger turn. That is one reason to avoid turning early. There's a second reason too, and you can notice this if you pay attention. Survivors will try to mostly dodge right when you start sprinting, connecting the dots, and yes, they dodge during the time when the turning sensitivity is at maximum. And when you see them dodge, you tend to make the turn, which leads to you missing your shot. To avoid this, simply wait at least about half a second before trying to turn. This sounds difficult, but with practice, you'll find it easier than you think. And the last but not the least, avoid using chainsaw in open areas. Open areas mean more room for survivors to dodge your chainsaw. Of course, the majority of the maps have open areas, and I have already talked about what you should try to avoid doing when playing as a hillbilly. And if you practice and get better in those aspects, then maybe you won't be bothering about open areas. Because if you can be careful of those mistakes, then you can shine even in open areas. But since I'm talking about things you should avoid as a hillbilly, I think it's my duty to advise you not to let your guard down when playing in open. One thing you can do to become more confident that you won't miss is to get extremely close to the survivor and then use your chainsaw. At least in this manner, you won't miss. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you learned a few things in this video. If you did, then please leave a like and share it with your hillbilly main friends. And also, if you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button and help this channel grow. I'd appreciate it if you do that. And before going, in case you're wondering what I did to my annoying little friend here,
Fearless.